You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Hi, friends. Thanks for sticking around to include us in your Sunday night plans. This is KSL Sports Live. Now, before you tuck in for the night, we'll take you to the gridiron where in Provo, BYU football officially begins spring practices. 10 quarterbacks on the roster. More on that competition coming up. Plus, we'll check in with the Utes, Cougars, Aggies, and Wildcats all on the basketball court, and the latest from a handful of locals trying to boost their stock at the NFL Draft Combine. But we're going to start things off in the NBA. Since the middle of December, former Bountiful High Utah State Aggie Sam Merrill has become a regular in the Cavaliers' rotation after he drilled 8 3-pointers in a win against the Jazz. He had another 8 3-pointer game in a win against the Magic in January. He's made 4 or more 3-pointers in a game 9 times since then. 7 of those 9 times have been wins. And today, he was red hot once again. Let's get to it. The Cavs hosting the Knicks. No Donovan Mitchell in this game. More minutes for Merrill. He played 29 minutes off the bench. Second quarter, Merrill, the 25-footer. Cavs down by 5. Bit later, he's feeling it here. Merrill in the corner drills 3-pointers. And he made them on back-to-back possessions here. He would make 4 3-pointers just in this quarter. Then in the third quarter, with the clock winding down, give it to Merrill. He's going to beat the buzzer with another 3. Sam kept the Cavs close in the fourth. His 6th 3 of the game cuts the lead to 4, 92-88. He would make one more 3, finish the night 7 of 13 for 21 points. Bojan Bogdanovic fitting in nicely with the Knicks, though. He had 20 points in this game. This 4-point play here helped them out. The Cavs come out on the losing end, 107-98. The Warriors were visiting the Boston Celtics this afternoon. Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with threes on 3 straight possessions midway through the first. He had 19 first-quarter points. The Celtics poured it on, too, in this game. Jason Tatum from way outside. The Celtics built a 39-point lead. Then in the third quarter, Brown drives in for the scoop and score. Brown had 29. Tatum had 27. The Celtics win by 52. They set a new NBA record, 3 wins in one season by 50 or more points. The Clippers on the road against the Timberwolves. Fourth quarter here, Norman Powell getting the fast break out in front, and watch him with the flair. A little windmill. Clippers up by 4. Rudy Gobert, how about that? The no-look dime to Jaden McDaniels. He slams it in, tying the game at 84 on the next possession. Kawhi Leonard, well, he's going to give the Clippers a big boost here. The bucket and the foul. Kawhi finishing with 32 points. Clippers win this one by a point, 89-88. First place team in the West, the Thunder in Phoenix facing the Suns. Second quarter, Chet Holmgren, the follow dunk, and they have a 44-37 lead. In the second half, the Thunder really start to pull away. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits the jumper. The lead is 24, 84-60, but the Suns get hot, and they actually come all the way back. Bradley Beal from the top of the arc for 3 cuts the lead to 89-88. He had 31 points. The Suns would actually take the lead, but SGA would go on to score 10 of the Thunder's 14 points down the stretch. He finished with 35, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. Thunder win their 42nd game of the season.
Sexton. Oh, yes. He's got to kick it. Sends the ball wide open.
Utah Jazz seem to be committed to that portion of the rebuild that is dedicated to developing its young talent. Over the last 9 games, Keontae George is averaging 33 minutes per game. Since the All-Star break, Taylor Hendricks has worked his way into the starting lineup, and Bryce Sensabaugh is playing 15 minutes per game off the bench. But the Jazz have just 2 wins in that span, and they're 5.5 games out of the play-in tournament. Developing young talent seems to be the priority now, though, and Keontae George continues to prove the Jazz right when they took him with the 16th overall pick in the draft. On Saturday against the Heat, he played a career-high 43 minutes, recording his 3rd career 30-point game with 31 points on 6 of 11 shooting from three-point range. Since being reinserted into the starting lineup 8 games ago, George is averaging 17.3 points and 5.9 assists per game while shooting 42.4% from three-point range. With the trades of Kelly Olynyk and Simone Fontecchio, the Jazz have given many of those minutes now to 9th overall pick Taylor Hendricks. Hendricks has been in the starting lineup since the All-Star break. He's playing 27 minutes per game, averaging 9.4 points and 8 rebounds in that span. Hendricks' promotion to the starting lineup also opened up rotational minutes for Bryce Sensabaugh, the 28th pick in the draft. He's played in 6 games, averaging barely 2 minutes per game until the All-Star break. But now Sensabaugh plays 15 minutes per game off the bench, averaging 5 points and shooting 46% from three-point range.
Trying to continue to progress each and every day, take one step at a time. Don't get too high, don't get too low. That's what I've been preached the most this season is don't ride that wave. Be the same person every day, work the same, approach the game the same way.
I felt great, in the beginning of the season I would have never thought I would be in this position, so it's a blessing.
Just trying to do anything I can for real. Play hard, work on the defensive end, get steals, get deflections, whatever it may be.
All right, with blizzard-like conditions hitting our state this weekend, it sure doesn't feel like spring, does it? Well, if you head down to Provo, BYU football will tell you it's shorts weather already. The first day of spring football practices began on Thursday. This is the first of 15 practices that are scheduled between now and March 30th. Some familiar faces to keep an eye on this spring are L.J. Martin. With the departure of Aiden Robbins to the NFL draft, Martin will be the lead back for the Cougars. And defensive end Tyler Batty returns to a defensive line that desperately needs to get after the quarterback this fall. But there's still a long way to go between now and August.
Man, I feel like we just got done with football, but we're all excited to be back, get playing.
Just willing to have fun and do it with my teammates and the guys that I've been around this whole time. So
we got a lot of ballers, man. We got a lot of ballers. Like, we have a great locker room, and there's a lot of positions to be filled.
Well, some key position battles officially kicking off with the start of spring ball, and most eyes will be on the competition to become BYU's next starting quarterback. BYU has 10 quarterbacks on the spring roster. Jake Retzloff and transfer Gary Bohannon are leading that competition.
That's the world we live in, right? If you're not competing, then what are you doing? Iron sharpens iron, so that's the way, that's the way I look at it. It's like, well, those guys are going to push me to be better every day.
We train for this our entire lives. As a kid growing up, you want to be a college quarterback. You want to make it to the NFL, be an NFL quarterback. I want to be in this position, and we got to be good and be comfortable with taking everything that comes with it, the good and the bad.
It is a big room. In our meeting room, we got 10 chairs. Never thought they'd all be filled. We could almost fill an entire field, to be honest with you, with 10. We just need one more. So if you guys know anybody, let us know.
Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball history.
Big-time history made in college hoops today. Caitlin Clark, in her last regular season home game for Iowa, passed Pete Maravich for the most points scored by a Division I basketball player, men's or women's. She needed 18. She finished with 35. She now has 3,685 career points and counting. All right, let's head to the Diamond now. The Utah softball team is just outside of the top 25 in the national rankings, but they're gaining each week, winners in each of their last 5 games. And on Sunday, a little history was made on the mound, taking on Utah Tech. It was Utah pitcher Sarah Ladd doing something that hadn't been done in 7 years. In the bottom of the third, she'll get the strikeout here, which was her first of the day. She's just warming up. Then to close the inning, Ladd grabs the ball off the hop, throws out at first. She closes out the fourth with another strikeout, and now she's officially in the zone. She sits down 2 more in the 6th inning to head to the final frame, and in the 7th, 20 batters up, 20 down, 1 to go, and she got it, striking out the last batter. A perfect game, the first Utah pitcher to have a perfect outing since 2017. The Oklahoma Sooners, they had been perfect on the diamond for the past 71 games, dating back to last season. That was until today against Louisiana. Game tied at 4 in extra innings, top of the 8th. Louisiana's Sam Rowe grounds one through the left side. 2 runs come home for the 7-4 lead. Oklahoma got 1 run back, but they lose 7-5, and their 71-game win streak is over. All right, what a week it's been for the BYU basketball team, knocking off 7th-ranked Kansas on the road and then a 29-point swing to beat TCU last night at the Merrill Center. We'll hear from the Cougars coming up.
Darius Brown trying to draw a foul, forces up a 3 and banks it in.
The Aggies had a big week with a couple of wins to maintain first place in the Mountain West Conference. And Dylan Jones says goodbye to Ogden, and he does so in remarkable fashion.
I wanted to come back and, finish my career here at BYU on a different note. I didn't want to, go out like that.
Tyler Batty made the tough decision to return to BYU for one more year of college football. My conversation with him is on the way, and the state high school basketball championships. 1A, 4A, 5A, and 6A in both boys and girls. All of that is coming up right after this. In the meantime, if you haven't already, why don't you take out your mobile device there, take a shot of that QR code, and download your free KSL Sports app, where you can read all of your BYU, Utah, Utah State, and Utah Jazz content, as well as stream 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone live. We'll be right back.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Let's jump back into the NBA. Pacers taking on the Spurs, and if you're ever in doubt, just throw it to Victor Wembanyama. My goodness, that guy is long. Fourth quarter, Pacers get the ball movement going, and Miles Turner hits the three to cut the Spurs lead to 1. Then Wembanyama posts up, spins, the and one layup. Wemby finished with 31 points, 12 rebounds. The Spurs winning just their 13th game of the season. Sixers taking on the Mavericks. Tyrese Maxey was a problem today. He finished with 24 points. Mavs trying to make a comeback, though. Luka, step back three, good, cuts it to 9. Then Kyrie. It's always a foul when it's Luka, right? He's always looking for that. Kyrie drives, pulls up, cuts it to 5. Next possession, Kelly Oubre finds Tobias Harris, and this is what we call the dagger. Harris finishes with 28 points. The Sixers win 120-116.
That Pope is a bad dude. He's got BYU cooking. And the Cougars just did something nobody's done all year, winning at Allen Fieldhouse. Whoa!
Darius Brown trying to draw a foul, forces up a 3 and banks it in. Glenn Jones, MVP candidate, book it, mark it, vote it.
The madness is on the doorstep. You know, last week, Clemson basketball coach Brad Bramwell, he came out firing at the Big 12 Conference, saying that the conference is gaming the system by scheduling easy opponents in out-of-conference play to help boost their net rankings, which are determined to get NCAA tournament seeding. Well, as of today, BYU's ranked 12th in the net, one of 5 Big 12 teams in the top 20. But an easy non-conference schedule doesn't take away from what BYU did this past week on the court. Last night at a packed Merrill Center, BYU fell behind to TCU by 17 points at halftime. But in the second half, they dominated, scoring 58 second-half points, outscoring TCU by 29 in the half to earn an 87-75 win. BYU got rolling when Fousseyni Traore scored underneath, which cut the lead to 11 and made it 50-39 in the early portions of the second half right there. 2 minutes later, Trevin Knell would dial one up from the corner. BYU was on a 13-0 run at that point to cut the lead to 3, 50-47. The Cougars would complete the comeback and take the lead when Richie Saunders connects from the corner. BYU went up 65-62, and then they just seemed to step on the gas and go full throttle. Traore with the hammer to build a 12-point BYU lead. Foose came off the bench to lead BYU with 21 points, 7 rebounds. Trevin Knell added 20 points on a team-high 4 3-pointers. After a big win in Lawrence, there was no letdown in Provo on Saturday.
I wasn't concerned about a letdown. I was just concerned about our emotional endurance, right? But these guys have been practicing this all season long, and they've been good at it. So I think we have a lot of faith. There's no turning back now. It just gets harder from here, and these guys are up for it.
And now, speaking of that big win, it got started on Tuesday night when the Cougars went to historic Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas. The first time since early November that the Cougars went into a game outside of the top 25 rankings in the AP poll, and they were facing the 7th-ranked team in the country. But Dallin Hall and Jackson Robinson each scored 18 points for the Cougars. BYU made 10 more three-pointers than Kansas did in a stunning 76-68 win on the road. And for the first time all season, and just the 18th time since Bill Self took over at Kansas in 2003, the Jayhawks lost on their home floor. The Weber State Wildcats are the hottest college basketball program in the state. They have now reached the 20-win plateau in the season after winning 8 of their last 9 games. But they did have to play the role of cardiac cats in their win on Thursday night to help them get there. With 30 seconds left in the game, Weber was down by 6, but somehow turned things around, starting with Blaze Threatt's pair of 3 free throws. Then with less than 20 to play, Dyson Kohler got the steal, made it a 2-point game. Weber was gifted with some free throw misses, which gave them a chance. And with 12 seconds left, Dylan Jones,
MVP candidate, book it!
He forced overtime, and if that wasn't enough, Weber was down 6 in overtime, and they came back again. Jones would score 7 straight points, and he finished with one of his best games as a Wildcat, 33 points, 23 rebounds, and 9 assists. Then on Saturday, the best college basketball player in the state said goodbye to the home fans in Ogden, the final game of Dylan Jones' basketball career at Weber State. And once again, Jones was outstanding. 21 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists in a win over Northern Arizona. In his 4 years with Weber State, Jones has scored 1,739 points, has more than 1,100 rebounds, and has played in 117 games. He still has one more at Montana State tomorrow, and then the Big Sky tournament is coming up. Utah State continues to lead the Mountain West Conference thanks to some last-second heroics at Fresno State on Tuesday. Darius Brown II hit a three-pointer just before the buzzer to send the game to overtime. And then in overtime, with less than a minute to go, Brown, he's making another 3 for the lead and the eventual win. The Aggies followed that up with a 12-point win over Air Force on Saturday, boosting the Aggies' overall record to 24-5 and 12-4 in conference play. They still have games against San Jose State and New Mexico this week. Saturday was senior night at the Huntsman Center for the Utes. Absolutely demolished Cal, 88-59. And of course, it was the seniors starring in that game. Brandon Carlson with 30 points, 10 rebounds. Davon Smith had 18 points and 10 assists. And Gabe Madsen scored 17 points in their last game at the Huntsman Center. Now, Davon Smith also made some history this past week at Huntsman Center. On Thursday night, he recorded his 3rd triple-double of the season with 13 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The 3 triple-doubles in one season ties Andre Iguodala for 2nd in Pac-12 history and is behind Jason Kidd's conference record of 4 in one season. The regular season didn't quite end how the Utah women's basketball team would have liked. A big loss on senior day at the Huntsman Center on Saturday to the Washington Huskies, but now they can turn the page to the postseason. Utah will have the 6th seed in the Pac-12 tournament and will face Arizona State in the first round on Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Spring football at BYU is underway this week. Yes, it's just spring. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done to be ready for year 2 in the Big 12 Conference. But one big difference this spring compared to last spring is that defensive coordinator Jay Hill isn't the new guy anymore. His defense has a year of experience with him now. And working with him this week is already a noticeable difference for his players.
Yeah, I can tell everyone on the defense, from the D-line to the backfield, I feel like everyone has a pretty good idea of what's going on now, so it's just a lot easier for everyone. So,
last year installing everything, everyone was drinking out of the fire hose. This year, some of us are able to, help the young guys with the defense, and so it's awesome because we're rolling. It's not all brand new.
Not all brand new, but Hill will lean heavily on Tyler Batty this fall. He needs to. The BYU defensive line tied for last in the nation in sacks, just 11. That has to be better. And Batty, who put off going to the NFL for one more year in Provo, he told me that he doesn't take that responsibility lightly.
All right, well, Tyler, talk a little bit about getting started. Spring ball's here. It's February, but we call it spring ball still.
Yeah, we it's officially arrived, man, and we're excited to be out here.
What would you say is the foundation you're trying to build in this first phase of football for this year?
Yeah, just, establishing an identity as a team, going back to the basics, getting the fundamentals down, just, getting ready for another year of football, especially with a lot of new faces, getting everybody here and on the same page.
You talked about the young guys and the new faces that are here, a part of this defense. Who do you expect, or who should we expect to maybe catch us by surprise this year?
That's always a tough question. No, I mean, we got a lot of ballers, man. We got a lot of ballers. Like, we have a great locker room. And there's a lot of positions to be filled. We're gonna need some young linebackers stepping up, some young corners, some young safeties. You know what I mean? We got some returning safeties. Talent Alfrey, Micah Harper, those guys. Then Slade. We got a lot of talent there, but we also got a lot of young talent too that I think is going to make a big impact.
So last year, the defensive pressure to get to the quarterback was probably not where you guys had hoped or planned or wanted it to be. What differences need to be made this offseason to be to be able to improve that?
Run the plays right, in a big way. That's a lot of it. Jay's been harping on that lately, and he's, Coach Hilly's right on the money with that. If everyone just does their job, we run the plays right, we would have ended up with a lot more pressures, a lot more sacks last year. I think part of that's just, installing a new defense, guys kind of coming from different schools. We had some transfers, and so there's just, a lot of need to adapt, you know what I mean? And so it was a little tricky, but yeah, honestly, just everyone on the same page, doing the same thing when they're supposed to do it. I think we're going to see a lot of improvement.
Why was it important for you to return this year?
Unfinished business. At the end of the day, it was a really tough decision. But I love BYU. I love our coaching staff. I knew that they wanted me back, and I wanted to come back and finish my career here at BYU on a different note. And I didn't want to go out like that.
Well, the Mountain West Conference released Utah State's schedule for the 2024 football season, and that all kicks off on August 31st against Robert Morris. But, of course, the big one, Utah is in Logan this year on September 14th. Two of the Aggies' final three are home games, with the season wrapping up on October 12th at Colorado State. Real Salt Lake played their first home game of the season against LAFC and Mother Nature as well. The snow-filled highlights are coming your way next. Plus, 8 state champions were crowned this week on the basketball court. Those title-winning moments are right around the corner. Stick around. Soccer season wanted to come to Utah on Saturday afternoon for Real Salt Lake's home opener. But those winds that whipped through the state, they forced a 2-hour delay to the start time. Then, just 3 minutes after finally starting, lightning forced the players off for another delay. When they finally were allowed back on the field shortly after 3 p.m., it was covered in snow, but that posed no problem for RSL. Andres Gomez scoring in the 18th minute for the 1-0 lead. Gomez would add a second goal late in the half. The nice touchback from Diego Luna for the assist and the 2-0 lead. Then in the first half stoppage time, Chicho Arango makes it 3-0. RSL getting their first win of the season.
Yeah, it was tough. Between being cold, between not being able to see a whole lot, didn't know if the ball was going to stop, if it was going to skip. So it was a lot of reactionary, which kind of is better sometimes. Like, you don't have to think about it much, and you're just kind of reacting, and you're so focused and dialed in that it seemed like it almost came easy and natural to me tonight, which is a great feeling.
Time now for our Any Hour Services play of the day. It was in overtime. Western Michigan and Ball State. How about this? Javon Hanna throws a full court bounce pass to Anthony Crump for the game-winning layup at the buzzer. Full court vision for the Western Michigan Broncos win. What a play. All right. 8 state championships were won on the high school basketball court this last week. And in Class 6A, the Lehigh Pioneers got to the title game thanks to a final 8-0 run in the last minute of the semis. And then Corner Canyon dominated the #1 Leighton Lancers by 26 points in their semifinal matchup. So those two teams met in the 6A championship game. Corner Canyon, the defending champs, Lehigh, won the 5A title 3 years ago. It was the Pioneers jumping out to the massive start, a 21-0 run to start the second quarter, and a 17-point halftime deficit. Corner Canyon cut the lead back to single digits. Darrell Desiree with the oop. But Lehigh always had an answer. Grayson Brousseau with the dunk. And then Cooper Lewis puts the game on ice. The steal and the layup. He had 30 points. Quincy Lewis wins the 9th title of his coaching career.
When we first took the Lehigh job 4 years ago, said we're going there to win some championships. And it's not going to be easy, but we did what we had to do and build our program and got a lot of good kids involved. And here we are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm so proud of these guys. The way we came together, just so united, it was incredible.
The 6A Girls Championship game featured Lone Peak going for the three-peat against #1 ranked Copper Hills. In the first quarter, Copper Hills on an 8-0 run thanks to Ellie Taylor's 3. They're up 16-15. But then Lone Peak goes on a run of their own. Shawnee Nordstrom, 3-ball. Lone Peak up by 7. Third quarter, watch this move by Kennedy Woolston. My goodness. Lone Peak starts to pull away. Naya Tanuvasa, she's going to add 3 more late in the game, and Lone Peak does it again. They are your 6A state champs.
It feels great. I love Kaylee. She's been my role model my whole life. and I love playing with her, but it was good to be able to get a dub without her.
Our senior leadership really matured and grew this season, and I'm proud of our seniors for stepping up. Their love for each other, they sure love each other and battle each and every day because they know how much each other means to the other. So they hold themselves accountable, but they also show up and have each other's back, which is huge.
In the 5A finals, it was a renewal of a region rivalry. The top two teams from Region 6 in boys basketball, Alta and Olympus. They split the regular season series, and on Friday at the Huntsman Center, it was another tight matchup. Final seconds of the half, Alta's Ace Reiser. He's going to connect on this three ball to give Alta the lead. I mean, he put his defender on skates and buries it. They're up 32-31 at halftime. Second half, Dutch Dowdell takes over for Olympus. Blows the defender by, hits the three-pointer there. Then Dowdell beats the buzzer to end the third quarter to build a 12-point lead. Olympus would hold that lead throughout the fourth, and they win the 5A state championship.
I've done great. I've kept my emotions intact all year. Just tried to ride out every situation, every game, and cherish it. You know, but him and Dutch are like my boys. I mean, I've coached Dutch for 100 years. I've coached them together, and for us to win it, I mean, it's undescribable.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, the first one was unreal as a sophomore. I never thought that would happen. And then this year, I mean, every day going with him, Lone, it's our last year together. I mean, it's really, truly the best way to end. I mean, it's really unbelievable.
A girls' championship game was number 1 against number 2. Bountiful taking on Wasatch. First quarter, Bountiful's Taylor Harvey hits the three. That gave Bountiful a 17-0 lead after one quarter. In the third, Harvey on the drive. She misses, but Mae Johnson is there for the follow. The bucket and the foul. The lead just kept growing, too. Malika Satawala with the swat. Back the other way, Bountiful goes, and it's Harvey with the ball in her hands, slicing in for the layup. Bountiful winning big, 62-35. They are back-to-back 5A state champs.
There's times I wonder how we do it, but I mean, we just keep figuring out a way. And the kids work hard, we work hard, and just super proud of what we've been able to accomplish there at Bountiful.
Well, I mean, we had something to prove. We came back, we won last year, and even on the RPI, we weren't ranked. Coming into this tournament, we were like, we have something to prove. Like, super fulfilled right now. I know that, like, this team has so much heart and so much personality to it, and I'm so glad I got to win it with these guys, too. They're awesome and young, so we're hoping to get another one next year.
We'll see if Bountiful can't get back next year. All right, the 4A state championship game came down to number 1 seeded Layton Christian Academy and the underdog, the 6th seeded Cottonwood Colts. Everything on the line Wednesday night at UCCU Center in Orem. In the third quarter, the reverse layup from Tyron Jones. That gave LCA the 12-point lead. But late in the fourth, Cottonwood's on the comeback. Chris Cox, nice turnaround jumper. Cottonwood's within 5. Then with 90 seconds left, Jones, the clutch three from the corner. And LCA, they take home the 4A basketball championship.
They do tough things every day, and that's what it takes to be a winner. They didn't doubt themselves for 1 minute during this season, and we had some ups and downs. We had some poor performance. They came every day to work.
Because they're all my family. I've been through thick and thin, so it's all just a big build-up. So we came together. Now it's time to break up, but we're still, in our hearts, we're still together.
Championship, it was another number 2 versus number 1 matchup. Snow Canyon against Ridgeline. Elise Livingston made 4 first-half three-pointers for Ridgeline. She finished the game with 20 points. Ridgeline led by 16 at the half. That lead would only grow in the second. Hallie Smith from the corner for 3. Then Emily Skinner gets the block. She goes uncontested the other way for the easy layup. She finished with 17 points. And Ridgeline wins back-to-back 4A state titles.
Before the game, I said to some people, well, I said to the girls, but I said, you know, you don't get to play in state championship games very often. I never did as a player, and these guys have played in 3 and won the last 2. And so it's an incredible journey.
And on and off the court, it's just so amazing, and I just love every one of them, and I'm going to miss it so much. And I just love them all.
The Penguins girls basketball team was not only in the championship game, but they had a chance to do something that only one other program has done in state history. I'll tell you what that is next. Which was going for the 14th state title in their basketball history, the first since 2019 against Tabiona. And McKenna Owens dominated for the Bobcats. The step-back three in the second quarter. Penguich led by 15 at the half. In the third quarter, Mallory Henry cuts to the basket for 2 of her 12 points. She also had 12 boards. And then Owens made another 3. She had 22 points. And you see it, Penguich celebrating. That means they won the 14th state title in school history, which ties the state record. The boys' championship in 1A hoops came down to Penguich and Rich. Fourth quarter, Penguich with a big lead and adding to it. Cash Air gets the tough land. Bobcats up 13. Rich keeps coming. Ridge Lundgren lays it in to cut the lead to 5 with 45 seconds left. But Penguich makes their free throws down the stretch. They are back-to-back state champs, and I'll tell you what, the town of Penguich must have had a huge party this weekend for their 4A boys and girls state championships. They deserve to be celebrated. Way to go, winning those state championships this weekend. You could have seen all of those live streamed on the KSL Sports app if you had that on your mobile device. If you don't, get it now so you don't miss out on the spring sports, as well as Utah Jazz radio broadcasts. It's all there. We'll see you next week.